So you were employee number one.
Employee number one, man.
For me. So I'm employee number 3. I think when I go back and like look in accounting, when I put myself on payroll.
Yeah, when I go online, it says employee 001. I'm like, okay. Cool.
Yeah, 001, man. Yeah. That's sick. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Justin and I have known each other for a long time.
Long time.
We were like, what?
16,
15 when we met each other?
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it was crazy. We were talking the other day about how you had a career with like a good driving service. Yeah. And you were doing that. And then I had left the dealership and I was trying to get the tech company going. And I was always like going to you for design anyways, right?
Yeah.
So I was always like, how young were you when you got into doing design?
So when I was doing my apprenticeship at the garage there.
Yeah.
So I was there. I was making like $15 an hour as an apprentice.
Yeah.
So I was probably about 24 when I started, and I started because I was making the brochures and stuff for the garage and like making the AC Delco, blah 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 blah. And from there, my boss was like, "Man, you're really good at this, like,
right,
you know." And stuff happened with the garage. I couldn't. When my wife got pregnant, I was like, I can't afford to live off this like $15 an hour and going to school and whatever. So I ended up leaving and doing design on the side, which kind of blew up. I was begging people like, let me design your flyers for any party, you know?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So, and then it just took off from there, and I was just nonstop.
Yeah, it's kind of how you started with like all the clubs and the bars and stuff. You were designing all their flyers. Yeah. Yeah, your design game was like crazy out of the gate. I remember that.
Yeah,
and so I was nuts. So I was already like always going to you like, I need a logo. I need this. You know, hey, can you design this? I need this. And then I think there was just one point where we were like, why don't we just try to do this more full time?
Yeah, well, there was a point where like anybody would ask me for something. Can you design websites or can you do this? And me, I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
But I always said yes.
Yeah.
So
and I just learned.
I just learned as I went. Even though it took me a bit longer to do it, I still got it done. And it was like, no matter what they asked for, I was like, yeah, I can do it. No problem.
Yeah, I remember like you were doing crazy WordPress sites back then. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's where I started. It was like, what's the new trend and what's easy to build websites with where you don't need code and stuff like that. So I gravitated toward WordPress, and
which back then wasn't a bad thing. I mean, that was the dominator.
Yeah, exactly.
Still is for a lot of people. So I would always go to you. I remember always going to you for designs. Yeah. And then we just figured out a way to make it work when you came on, because you were at that point you had left the mechanics. You were driving for that bigger company. Yeah. So you had a career, but it just wasn't fulfilling.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was really like you were making way more than $15 an hour then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was making decent money. I had good benefits too. So.
Yeah, we got benefits now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it took a couple of years. Yeah,
but I remember I would drive to the office in my work van. Yeah. Because it was on my route. Yeah. And I would stop in and we would be talking about like getting things going for the company. And yeah, I remember that, man.
Yeah, you've really been there for everything. Like so many changes, so many pivots, and there's going to be so many more. Yeah. You know? And I think like when you start a company and you don't even know what you're doing at first, you have this like image of like, we're gonna go here. Yeah. We're gonna build this business and we're gonna do this thing. And you just don't know what you don't know. And then it's so funny when you look back years later and you laugh, and like some of the ideas we had like makes me cringe today, right? And I'm like, I can't believe we were actually gonna do that. But everything is kind of led, but you know, everything kind of leads, like one step leads to the next step, and we've just done so many pivoting. But what's super cool about you, man, is like you've been here through it all. Yeah. Like we started off trying to build this like sell your car app. That's how I think it started. Yeah. Then we got into like dealer training for a bit, and there's all these like company pivots, like new businesses, and it all kind of led though. It's like we started off trying to build this like app, realized we didn't even know the first thing about building a tech company.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Couldn't hire a developer to save our lives, and had these.
I remember looking online like, oh, what's a free app builder with no code? Like, so we could build the app.
Yeah, build the app. And it's like, we need one of these full stack people. What does that mean? And so we didn't know what we were doing. And so that really, but we learned so much. Yeah. Going to Toronto, we won't drop any names of the businesses we were working with, but remember, we went and incubated at companies, right, in these tech environments, and we opened our eyes to, and I remember, even you, it opened your eyes to, UI, UX.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
It was a whole new world when I went there, yeah.
And so we started learning about, front-end devs and what they work on, back-end, how to actually run a tech company, how to run a daily stand-up, sprints, agile development, all this was new to us. And so, we went down and we got to learn all that. Yeah. And
I'll be honest, when we went there, that changed my whole life. Just watching those graphic designers, real graphic designers doing their work and the workflow, how fast they work, and the whole creating mock-ups and whiteboarding and wireframes. Man, it was what is this? Well, I'm just used to designing flyers and logos here, Right. It was but seeing that, I was like, wow. Yeah. So this is what it's really like in the game.
And you caught on quick.
Yeah. And
you caught on so quick.
I was blessed to be a part of that because I sat beside these guys and they taught me basically what to do for UI, UX. And
it's funny because you always hear these things where they say your biggest, you really learn the lessons and the failures, not the successes. And so that model, that company, we never actually got that off the ground. But we learned so many invaluable lessons doing it, and we learned this whole new world and how to properly structure things, and so it made us that much more ready for the next thing. Yeah. And I think not enough people admit that, openly, on camera and to the world that we failed. We actually didn't know what we were doing. Great idea. Yeah. To this day, that's still a sick idea. Yeah. But we didn't know how to execute it properly, and we had to go through that process just to learn all the stuff that we didn't know. So, and so then we learned this okay, so now we're learning how tech companies operate, run. We're learning kind of key employees. We're learning that we need to get out there and get somebody in engineering, right? And then, like I said, we did another pivot where we were doing training for a bit. That quickly led to the marketplace. Yeah. So that quickly led to us kicking off Carlin's Canada, which was awesome. Yeah. And then that was just the start of the rocket ship, I think, right? Yeah. I think it was probably a year and a half of really slow traction. Yeah. And just total uncertainty. We're coming into work every day, not even knowing what are we even doing. Where are we even going, right? Are we going to make payroll? How many times do I have to call you in the office? And
yeah, it was rough. But I'll be honest, man. If there was anyone I was going to get behind and really go all in for, it's you, bro.
Thank you, brother.
I knew for a fact we would make it.
We're not going to give up. We're not going to give up. But man, there was some tough times. And there's going to be tough times ahead. Yeah. Right? That's the thing. It's there's never this moment where it's so funny. When you're an early company, you have these problems, and then you realize as the company gets bigger, the problems just get bigger. And so, you got to just anticipate the problems are going to happen. There's never going to be this. We're growing a business and growing a company, and we're on this big mission now. It's the problems are only going to get bigger, and you almost got to. The best way to handle an objection is to anticipate it. So it doesn't throw me off anymore. They used to throw me off. Yeah. Why does this keep happening to us? You know?
I know, man.
And then I go talk to other entrepreneurs, and it's they laugh at me. They're that's the process, man. You go talk to people that have done it, and they're oh yeah, I remember going through that. Yeah. I remember going through that.
Exactly.
But yeah, there was a lot of uncertainty. So many times we I wouldn't make payroll, or we always pulled it off. But man, there was times where I had to call you in, and it was I know it's due Friday. Can I get you on Tuesday? Yeah. And it's this is going to be an e-transfer. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you're just yeah. And that was I hated that. You got to get cash flow, man.
Yeah. It was tough, but but that was the good thing about having a side hustle, right? It's super important for people especially in a startup like that.
100%.
If you have a side hustle,
take a risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you had the side design gigs.
Yeah, I was still building websites.
So you're like, look, I'm going to make my mortgage no matter what. I'm going to make my rent payment no matter what. Like, I'm going to make my car payment no matter what. You're right. And because it is a risk, and people have to keep that in mind. Like, if they're going to take a risk on a startup, it's not a bad idea to have a plan B, or have something like have a second source of income.
Yeah. And I remember at that time too, I was getting married.
Yeah.
In September, and we were like in March or something, and I was like, what am I gonna do like to pay for this wedding, right? And I just literally went all in on the side hustle.
I remember that.
And I paid for our wedding within like 6 months,
Yeah.
It was crazy. But
and even some of the stuff like in our company led to some work for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like some website work, remember? And
big
opened
things,
it up, so that helped.
Yeah.
So again, just like being in that environment creates opportunities too, and opens up the opportunities. But yeah, and then we really started to manifest Autocorp. There's an old logo floating around. Like and I talked about it.
Autocorp was the first logo I made.
Yeah. People don't realize that, right? And that's funny because we, like, even though the company didn't happen like 3 iterations in, but you and I had talked about it like first.
Yeah.
Remember there was A with the road?
Yeah. Cheesy logo.
Yeah. We look at it now and we're like, oh my God. But that was, I want to make sure I didn't disconnect this. That was actually the first brand we talked about. So it's so cool that how we went full circle and actually came back to like the original idea of that auto tech company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, the first day that I knew Autocorp was going to be the friggin' biggest thing ever was the day you came in and you're like, listen, we need to sit down. I had a thought in the shower last night.
Yeah.
Ava. And I'm like, what? Ava what? Like your daughter? You're like, no, listen, come to the boardroom. And then we started talking. Automated, whatever. What was it called? Automated vehicle approvals or advanced vehicle approvals. And I'm like, okay, like I get where you're going. And then we started going into like this whole concept of Ava, and it was just like I was like, now we're talking. Like I'll be honest, when we were doing the whole Car Loans Canada thing, I was getting bored. I wasn't like fulfilled with this.
Sure.
I wanted to do something bigger.
Yeah.
And when you came in with that idea that day, I was like, this is what we need to go all in. And like from that day forward, it's just been.
And it's tough too because we built CLC up. Like that's a great business.
Oh, for sure.
That business was like a great business.
100%.
But we weren't like innovating enough.
Exactly.
Right? So we were touching a lot of people. But again, that gave us these learnings.
Yeah.
Because we had thousands of people applying for cars every month. And then it allowed us to kind of see the inefficiencies and the holes.
Yeah.
It's like, how do we make this better? Right? How do we make this better for customers that are looking to finance cars online, and then dealers who got to service the cars? So again, like I said, it all led, like one thing led to the next thing. Yeah, I remember that. I definitely remember that. And that was tough times. Like that idea came in a time of like, we were going through like really rough times, like financially for the company. Like I did not know what the next move was going to be. Right. And like, the training thing just didn't work.
Yeah.
And like so many partnerships at that point had just like fallen apart, and there was kind of like this implosion.
Yeah.
And it was funny because like it was the pressure of failure and kind of things not working out that actually created the vision and the idea that made the most sense.
For sure.
Because that was like in that time, it was like a really, really rough time. And I remember just being so stressed every day. Going home, just like not sleeping, and just like, what are we gonna do? Like,
and we were at the office, like,
and knowing we were, what the craziest part too was like knowing we were so close, like you know what I mean? Like I knew that like something's right in front of us, I just didn't see it yet.
Yeah.
But like, there's something here, and then it's just funny how sometimes it just like comes to you.
Yeah, and the worst part about it, the thoughts that I had was like, how long it took us to build that app in the beginning.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so now we have this idea. Now, how long is this going to take us to launch?
Right.
Right. And it was like, holy.
Yeah.
But we actually made it happen, man. Quicker than. Yeah.
Well, a bunch of things had happened in this time. So like tech even got a little easier.
Yeah.
right? Like back in like when we were trying to build that app, it was what, 2016?
Yeah.
So tech was like a lot more, and then, everything was like native.
Yeah.
And like you have to go hire all these iOS and Android developers, and you know the kind of new web-based stuff was not nearly as advanced as it is today.
Yeah.
And just the tech stacks, and so technology started to move so fast, it allowed us to speed up a lot of that stuff. That
for sure.
Yeah, like 10 years ago, this would have taken us like years to even build the infrastructure. Still took a while.
It did take a while, but
yeah. Actually, it's funny. The tech, I think, was almost one of the shorter parts. It was more like the partnerships and like, you know, getting done with like Equifax, and then you know, just getting all legal. That took like, you know, almost 2 years. Yeah. So it's cool, man. It's really what a journey, dude. And like we're just starting.
I know.
Here we are, like all this, you know, 4 years of going through this, and like we can now humbly say like we're just getting started. You know, now we again you get through one phase, you get through one level to unlock the next level, to like realize, you know, how much further we have to go.
Yeah.
But also this is the fun part, because it's the growth. Like we get to grow as individuals, we get to grow as people, we get to grow as a company.
And now we're actually innovating every day. Like that's how I feel. Like when I when I start working in the day, I have my little design meeting in the morning, and I'm like, okay, now I see like we have some big things.
The features, the products. Now it's all like clicking, right?
It's like every day we have a new idea that we can start working on.
Yeah, and you need that, but we needed to like have that foundation, right? It's like you need to build the basement before you can start building the first floor, the living room and the kitchen and everything, and then you got to start building the second floor. But you need that foundation. So you're right. Like we built the foundation now, and now it's just we get to keep innovating, and you just keep like creating new stuff, and that's the fun part.
Yeah. Now we're at a point where we're banging these products out in months rather than years.
Yes.
Which is
nuts. We used to take us years.
Yeah.
Yeah. We realize how important like speed to market is, and to get stuff out, and to like not be afraid to like get something out that might not work.
Yeah.
Try it.
Yeah.
Try it, you know, pivot.
Yeah, man.
Okay, that didn't work. Let's try this. So I think we got good at that.
Yeah, we have the resources now. We didn't have the team to do that before, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and even that still, like I see so many companies that, you know, who gets all the press, like what I see in Canada, like all the Canadian companies get all the press. All the press is around the fundraising.
Yeah.
You notice that?
That's true.
Yo, what about the companies who bootstrap like us?
Yeah.
You know, because it's all like the biggest PRs are so and so closed their $80 million Series Z.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, I'm like good for you. Like I'm. It's not like I don't resent them. It's like I'm happy for anyone that's crushing it.
But they should put a focus on guys.
What about the companies that like we did this with no Series A?
Yeah.
We did this with no seed round. You know, I'm not saying we never won't.
Yeah.
Right? Like invite investors in and like really add even more capital for growth. But like, I'm sorry. You want to talk about entrepreneurship and you want to talk about a team that is capable. Show me the team that's able to take nothing and build it into something with no resources.
Yeah.
Just like
I think it's the same in any industry, because I think
100%.
about the music industry. Guys who really did it with no label and did it independently.
Yeah.
Like guys like Russ, you know? They don't talk about guys like that enough, or Joyner Lucas, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same concept. It's like these guys are actually doing more numbers than a lot of the industry artists, but at the end of the day, they're just, you know.
But they did it themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's like we're right now. It's funny. So to translate like us to music, like we're the indie artists.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's
like we didn't sign to a major record label.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're getting plays. Like we're getting views and no, it's true. And those guys are usually the hungriest. And then also what happens is like you put a team like that, and then when they get unlocked to all the resources, well, now it's game over. Because if you were able to get from nothing to where you are, right?
And I'll tell you one thing about that is their core fan base is going to be like with them forever. So it's like us, like the dealers that we sign up,
yeah,
they're going to be like the most solid clients for us forever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's so true.
Because you're building real relationships with people. It's not like the label's putting out an ad and then you're getting all these fans, you know?
Yeah.
These are real core fans for them, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like the dealers we have right now, we've built such great relationships with them through every aspect, like the support team, the sales team, and
they've grown with us.
Oh yeah, man.
Like we started off and like we didn't even have support. And then we, you know, and then so many of our dealers worked with us to like implement that, and then how can we improve it? And no, you're right. And it shows in our churn numbers. We got low churn numbers for a reason.
Yeah.
Right? So those dealers are, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when I pivoted to help support for the 6 months that I did, I really got to talk with these dealers and have phone calls with them and see and really get to know like the issues that they're having, or you know what I mean, really working with them. So it felt good, man, to do
so that. It's funny, we were talking about like the company pivoting and ideas, but like let's look at you as an individual, right? And that startup, right? That's startup life, and you pivoted so much, you know. And it's like your design, and now you're in support, and now you're in Q&A,
and then I was doing email marketing,
and now you're doing email marketing, and now you're about, we need them back in design.
The way I looked at it was like, I want to know the ins and outs of the company if I'm going to be a core employee 100%. Or whatever. So it was like, I want to know how it works to do support. I want to know how it works to do email marketing, design, whatever.
Yeah, you've just became this like Swiss Army knife in the company, right? Yeah. And it's like, you're the go-to for a lot. We're like, we don't know what to do. It's like, go to Justin. Just go to Justin. He'll get it done, right? But yeah, so like, you've pivoted so much. But that takes a certain also mentality. Like a lot of people break under that. Yeah. Because a lot of people just like want their thing, and this is what I do. And that's why like when we interview people too, and they join a startup, I almost try to talk people out of it in like the job interview. Because I'm like, do you know what you're getting into? Like it's not this perfectly structured corporate where you've got your JD, you know, you've got that job description, and that's it. Like you got these 2 paragraphs. It's like, we're gonna be throwing stuff at you. We're gonna maybe totally pivot your whole position one day, where it's like, we're gonna realize that you're way better positioned over here. And some people just break under that. They just can't do it.
I think because I wasted a lot of time in my 20s. And I was just thinking about the whole mediocre, like middle class life, like getting a job, and you know what I mean? It was like, once I hit my 30s and I really smartened up, I was like a sponge for anything. You know what I mean? So it was the same thing with learning the WordPress and this and that, just taking on anything. Because I wasted a lot of time, you know? So when I got older, I was like, no, now's the time where I want to have all these skills, because I never went to school for anything but mechanics. And that was like the biggest waste ever, you know?
Knowledge is power. Yeah. And like, we're all students. And that's the mentality you got to have. Like, we have to all keep learning. You know, and it's why you still see, you're never going to see me stop going to these places and taking these courses and attending these seminars and reading these books. I'm always looking to learn more. We're always looking to learn more. Everything's changing. And then sometimes we were talking about the sales team the other day, and then sometimes you got to go back and refresh the stuff you already know. The truth is, we know, a lot of us know what we need to do, but sometimes you just need that reminder. You need that refresher. And you got to go back and relearn.
And that's the thing with design, is every year there's new trends. So I'm constantly checking out people's websites and checking out Apple and the biggest companies to see like the design trends that they're using. And taking all that knowledge and just like kind of implementing it piece by piece into what we're doing. You
know? And we grow as people. So, you know, let's just say like 27-year-old Justin read a book. So you read a book on business or success, right? And you were 27. Well, if 37-year-old Justin picks up that same book and rereads it, you are going to interpret it so differently, and there's going to be so many like lessons and things that you didn't catch when you were 27, right? Because you hadn't gone through and learned a lot more of life skills. So as you build up your life skills, and then you go back and pick these, you know, I find myself rereading books or retaking courses that I took in my 20s or my early 30s, and I retake them now, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even catch this whole chapter.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Because I didn't know.
You didn't know. Yeah.
I just didn't know, man. So yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been fun, dude. So, and we joke with you too, because we always say like, you're just here. We have the privilege of you being with us until you blow up, right? As an artist.
Yeah.
Until you blow up, and then
Well,
we always say don't forget about us. I want front row. I want VIP to the show, bro. Yeah, don't forget about us, man. Yeah. Your music thing's going crazy.
It is.
What were your Spotify streams?
5.5 million this year.
Jeez, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
5.5 million. That's huge. That's huge.
I swear, it's all things that I've learned through this company to like where it's like it's now or never. So anything that I want in life, if I don't go after it now, how long do I have left doing that? Right. Like I'm 35.
Yeah.
I mean, you could look at a guy like Eminem or whatever who's 50 now.
Yeah.
But it's like he was already in his prime in his 20s.
Yeah, like 21,
Whereas,
22.
Like I said, I wasted a lot of time in my 20s, and I missed a lot of opportunities that I could have been huge right now.
Sure.
So yeah, just being around us and watching us grow and grow and grow, the consistency was like, oh man, if I'm that consistent in my music, I could do something great as well on the side.
Yeah.
And still be working 9 to 5 and doing my thing. But so in the last 3 years, it was COVID.
Sure.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Because I have a studio in my basement, but I was doing studio sessions for people before COVID.
Yeah.
And once COVID hit and it was like everyone's staying home and no one, I was like, you know what? I'm not working with any of these guys anymore. I have this studio here. I'm home. Why not take advantage and just like focus on me now?
And your music.
And my stuff, because a lot of the times I was so busy focusing on other people that I didn't put that right focus on myself. Once COVID hit, I literally was recording every single night after work. I would work, get off, hang out with the kids and the wife, put the kids to bed, and I'm back downstairs in the studio working.
Yeah, I'd see it. I'd watch you do it on IG.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still do. I still see it. Like we'll be on a big meeting, and then an hour later, we'll be on a big meeting at the end of the day, and then like I'll see you an hour later with like 5 people in your studio, right? I'm like, this guy doesn't sleep. Yeah. Like, when does he eat? When does he sleep?
Yeah, I know. It's pretty crazy. I've learned to get as little sleep, but still manage to.
How long do you sleep?
Between 4 to 6 hours.
I can't do that.
I know.
4 is not healthy, bro.
I know, it sucks, but like.
Yeah, you got to get one of these.
What is that?
That's an Aura. It's an Aura. This was the best piece of health tech I ever bought, and it's like $250.
Right.
So like the new Apple Watch is like $1,400. Man, this gives me so much data on sleep.
Really?
On sleep. It tells you how much like you're lacking, what your ideal sleep is, how long you were in REM for.
Right.
It's great. I wear it every single day. It's really helped me improve my sleep. Sleep is everything. You realize that. Like you learn that. Like you don't get it proper sleep the night before, you know?
Yeah.
Now, you don't need like 8 or 9 hours.
Don't get me wrong. I don't do that every single night.
Yeah.
But like.
I can't function on 4.
Yeah.
I gotta hit 6 minimum. If I get 6, I'm good, right?
Yeah.
And then my ideal, like everyone's got, my ideal is like 6. That's 6.5 to 7 hour. If I can get the 6.5 to 7 hour, because there's actually a thing too. I find if I sleep too long, that actually throws me off. Just as I'm tired.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I don't need to sleep for 8 hours or 8.5 hours. It's too much.
Yeah, I think I've trained myself to do that maybe once, twice a week.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad. I find.
But you know, it's funny, like relating back what you learned in a startup and continue to learn. I've watched you apply it to your music career too.
Yeah.
Because so first off, like you've watched us like network and connect with like bigger companies and bigger people. I've watched you now like network and connect with like bigger artists.
Yeah.
You know, you've got some crazy things coming. I know we can't talk about it right now, but you've got some huge stuff coming.
Yeah.
And that's networking.
It is. I didn't stop networking.
That's sales.
It was COVID, man.
Because you're selling the opportunity to work with you and what that could mean.
I took that from Gary Vee. Gary Vee was like, start DMing 100 people and you might get one, you know?
Sure.
So I started doing that.
It's a numbers game.
DMing every producer, rapper, artist, record label, and I just, whoever answered me, I went all in and worked with them, you know?
Yeah.
And some of the things just happened because I was making so many moves that bigger producers and people started reaching out to me.
And trying new things, right? So having an innovative mindset. So a couple things, because I want to touch on the networking thing. But so I've watched you even innovate music.
Right.
Where you're like right now, what's really taking off for you is like you're like mixing like EDM with rap.
Yeah.
And it's like popping off all over the world, right?
It is. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like and it's so crazy. So many of your streams aren't even in Canada.
No.
Right? They're in Europe.
I think Canada's 11th on my list.
So you've got millions of streams in Europe right now.
Yeah.
But that's innovation. Like you took something that really wasn't like existing and you created this kind of like new almost genre where you're mixing hip hop with EDM.
Right. Well, it existed, but the guys that were doing it, just meh, you know.
Yeah, there was opportunity.
Yeah.
Right, opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
And then I was also going to say that getting back to networking and being like not afraid to try new things.
Yeah.
So you were talking about the way that you've connected with some of these big contacts you have now is through like DMing them on social. But there's so many new platforms that come out.
Yeah.
And the way to like so here's the thing. Let's just say you're trying to get a hold of this. I'll give you an example. Like, well, let's just use someone huge, Jay-Z.
Right.
Okay, let's just say you're trying to get a hold of Jay-Z. Okay. You DM Jay-Z on Instagram right now.
He doesn't even have Instagram, but yeah.
Well, okay, so whatever.
He opens his Instagram for
Let's talk about Drake. Whatever.
Okay,
Let's use someone else.
Drake.
Let's talk about Drake. Okay, so like, let's say you're trying to get a hold of Drake.
Yeah.
And like you DM Drake on Instagram. He's never going to see that, right?
Never.
And the Instagram is still established. But let's just say there's this new platform that pops up, Clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And Drake jumps on Clubhouse.
It's true.
And there's not 100 million people following him yet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? Because you're a forward thinker and you're open to like trying new things quickly, you're on Clubhouse now. All of a sudden, Drake's on Clubhouse, you're DMing him, boom, you've connected. It's so it's that mindset of like not being afraid to try new things,
Right.
and fail fast and just try it. If there's a new thing, let's try it out. We do it all the time in the business.
Yeah.
There's this new technology, there's this new design thing, there's this new project management system. Like we're not afraid to try these things.
Yeah.
If they work, great. We get rid of the old one or we use them both. If they don't, well, we tried it, but we like this one better. So it's the same like mindset of like just like growth and innovation, and where you can actually now connect on these like newer platforms, these emerging platforms with these people who are a lot more accessible.
Yeah.
On that newer thing, you know?
I thought Clubhouse was a really cool idea. It's crazy how fast it crashed and burned, but because of Twitter, I'm assuming they added the
Twitter rooms.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that's why. But
Elon's
I loved Clubhouse when it came out. I would have that. I would just join rooms and have it sitting on my desk, just listening to conversations while I'm working, and it's like listening to a podcast, you know, sitting there.
Well, it is. So many of them they're like interactive podcasts.
Yeah.
I thought it was so cool. Yeah, me too. I actually like deleted it. I got off of it because I found I was putting way too much, like I was listening all day.
Yeah.
And I am like,
true.
It's not, it was crazy, but it worked. So there's something to the whole audio room. But again, that's just innovation. That's just like not being afraid to try the new thing.
Yeah.
And going all in on a new thing.
And honestly, I had a lot of followers transfer over to my Instagram and other platforms.
Cool. There you go.
Which
Yeah. You connect with people on Clubhouse and So it's like the new social platform, the new piece of tech, the new, design thing.
Yeah.
Even design, man. Like, what are the old ones we used to use? InVision?
Yeah, so we learned that.
What did we start it with, though? Adobe?
I was the worst. I was using Photoshop to design everything because that's what I learned on. But I learned quickly that is the worst thing you could use to make UI, UX designs. It's just super slow when you start getting too many things, too many layers.
Yeah.
It starts getting really slow. And I don't know why I was so patient with that. I'd be like dragging a little button and just like my computer's almost freezing.
Right.
So yeah, when we went to Toronto, that's one of the things I learned is like we're using InVision, we're using what was it called, Zeppelin or
Yeah, Zeppelin was one.
Oh, and Sketch.
And Sketch.
Sketch was like a game changer. I was like, holy, everything's with vectors. I didn't even really know what vectors were.
Sure.
So it was like, okay, so this whole thing is made with vectors. You got the highest quality, everything. Yeah. So that Sketch was the first thing I transitioned to.
Yeah.
And now we're using Figma.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it, man. Figma is just so fast. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's that change. There's that like us always like looking for in ways to improve, or just looking for newer things to try.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we've done it with a bunch of stuff. We've done it with sales and marketing, always changing it, always switching it up.
Yeah,
for that better thing. Yeah. Cool, man. Well, where do you think we're gonna go?
We're gonna be huge, man. I
Yeah.
can see it, and it's gonna be. I'd say, give us 3 years, and we'll be at least a $50 million company or $100 million company, and then from there it's just gonna take off.
Yeah.
$1 billion company.
Yeah, we'll be way bigger than that in 3 years.
Okay, sick.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be way bigger than a $50 million company in 3 years for sure.
Okay.
That I guarantee you. Yeah, my word.
Awesome.
But yeah, we're going for the unicorn.
Let's get it.
But we're going for the change, and the success will come. Like we're focused on the product. Right. And products that's needed, right? And the success will come with us solving all these problems for all these customers and dealers, But I mean, yeah, we've got a huge market opportunity in front of us. We've got this massive market to serve. Yeah. The automotive industry, it's huge, and so we've got a big total addressable market, and we know it well. We know this industry well. We know what we're doing. I like to think we know what we're doing.
Yeah, man, for sure.
But we didn't always. And that's what I was like we were talking about earlier. Like we didn't always know what we were doing. And there's still a lot we don't know.
Yeah.
But we're pretty focused now, and we're good in our domain.
Yeah.
And so I think we're gonna be able to take this thing pretty big. I know we're gonna be able to take it big. We already are. Just to look at where we came from and where we're at today, sure. we've already traveled so far, but I know that we're going to take this to a whole new level now.
Yeah, man.
And you can't see those like new levels until you get to like the one right under it. It's almost like you can't even see it as reality. Like you see these people, you see the Bezos and the Musks, and you're just like, it seems like fantasy.
Right.
When you're like really, really small. But as you keep growing and gaining these next stages, it's like it becomes possibilities. Things that were once like fantasies actually become possibilities. Yeah. And you're able to.
Yeah. I think it's cool because we're in a niche market, but the market we're in is such a huge, like $1 billion industry that there's so much money to be made for us, man. Like.
Yeah, there's so much innovation that's needed, and it's changing so fast, and like people aren't like cars aren't going cars are changing. Right, like the whole electric EV push, like that's surreal. That's what we're already starting to see it happen. 10 years from now, there's going to be a lot more EVs, but people still need to finance those EVs. They still need to.
As an owner of an EV, like, what's your preference? Do you think that could be something that we do, like we drive all the time when there's no more gas vehicles, or?
Well, that's what's going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you like the feeling of a real engine?
Yeah, so like I'm an old soul, right?
Yeah.
So like I got the Tesla. We've saved so much. So my wife, what she traded for the Tesla was her Tahoe.
Oh wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So the gas was like insane.
Yeah.
What she was putting in that. But I'm an old soul, man. So like to me there's nothing like a big naturally aspirated engine. Like for me, what really fills me up is like that V8.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
But like, hey, I'm not like the Tesla's fun. It's like super quick. It's awesome to not have the gas charge.
Yeah.
And it hasn't really even affected our hydro that much, really. Like.
Have you traveled a long distance in the Tesla?
No.
No.
Just Toronto.
Right.
Like just Toronto and back. And even that's annoying. I got to stop a minimum once.
Yeah, and it's like 40-minute charge or something?
If I want to do the full thing, you don't need to.
Okay.
Sometimes you only need to stop for 12, 15 minutes, but like, yeah, I don't love that. It's I like the range anxiety thing's real. right? Like I don't know.
I think once we grow, I think they'll have some fast chargers where you'll pull in and it'll be like 3 minutes and you're full.
It also just depends geographically where you are. Like if you look in the U.S.,
yeah,
they've built out this supercharger. They're everywhere, so you're good. Whereas like when I'm heading somewhere in Ontario, there's so many like areas where it's like there's no supercharger anywhere near here, and so yeah, you gotta. But for bombing around town, for getting the kids, to dance and back and forth, it's awesome. It's definitely awesome. Like I said, we've saved a lot already on fuel, and it's fun. So I can see it, and they're only getting better. Like these are again, like a product. These are the early iterations of EVs, right? Yeah. It's like you go look at our first screens of Ava Credit.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, the old purple ones.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Remember we thought
super purple,
and we thought that was like it.
Yeah.
We were
doesn't
blown.
match any dealer in the world's website.
No, it's so off-brand. Yeah. But we thought this was it, and now we look at it and we're like, oh my God, right? Yeah. You look at our screens today, but so the same thing is with the EVs. Like these are the first iterations, so it's progressing quick.
Yeah.
And you're right. I'm sure First off, the batteries are going to get even better and better for range, and then the chargers are going to get like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it's cool. It's cool, man. You rocking the VW still?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you upgraded. You went to an Atlas?
Not yet. No, I'm still in the Tiguan.
But you upgraded the Tiguan. You had an older Tiguan.
No, I didn't. This is the same one that I've had since 2019.
Oh, that was Jay.
Yeah, Jay. Yeah,
Jay had the older Tiguan, and then his wife upgraded. Yeah, so yeah, you got that one.
There's a new Volkswagen it's an SUV that's electric. Can't remember the name off the top of my head, and it's available in Japan right now. Super slick, man.
Okay.
Really nice. I'd like to get one of those if it comes here.
Yeah, I always have a soft spot for VW.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the brand. You can't beat them. You got the newer. Yours was like the bigger one though. Not the older version. You got the newer version.
Yeah, I got the 20.
You got more trunk space and
I have a third row in a Tiguan, which is funny.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Are you eyeing the Atlas? Are you thinking that's something?
Well, I'd like to see what they look like next year because they've already changed the look of it completely since 2019. Okay. So it's like I really like the Cross Sport.
Yes.
Atlas.
Yeah, agreed.
Really nice.
Yeah, it's sweet.
But if I can, I'll show you this after the show there. But you see this new electric one they're putting out? It's super slick, man.
You know what I like that like no one likes? I want your opinion on this one. What? Everyone I talk to is like, I don't like them. I think they're sick.
What?
Is the new Wagoneers.
Oh, I love them, man.
Okay, yeah.
I love them.
Everyone I bring it up to is like, no.
I love it.
I'm like, really? Like we were looking at one. I'm like, I think these are sick.
I like the new Grand Cherokees too, man.
Yeah.
They're really
the new
nice.
Wagoneers are really, really nice.
Yeah, man. And the features inside?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to my buddy who was driving one, and he had traded it. He had an Escalade.
Yeah. That's what they compare it to.
But he said, he's like, this is actually more bang for the buck.
Yeah.
And it was like a better drive, and he was driving his kids all around in it. And it was like, Anyways, I like them. They caught my eyes. Yeah. But then there's so many people that they're not selling it as well as I think they thought, but they might catch on.
Yeah. Well, it's the higher luxury price range, right?
They priced it high.
Yeah.
They did price it high. Yeah. So we'll see how they work with that.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, appreciate you coming by,
me, bro.
Jamming. Anytime, man.
Of course.
Mi casa, su casa. Yeah, man, it's been fun. And you know what? We should do this more often. Like we should almost like have the conversation once a year. Mm-hmm. But and do it this documenting style and to talk about our own progression and
for sure
and lessons and stuff, brother. So here's to another year.
Thank you, bro.
Get it. Thank you, man.
All right.